Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Tonight, I'm going to be reacting to a video requested by JERTDW. It's called Rust and Iron Warriors Monologue, Unofficial Warhammer 40k audio, narrated by Vox in the Void, by the YouTube channel A Vox in the Void Narration. If you want to check out my previous reactions to other Warhammer 40k content, remember the playlist card is going to be at the top. Just click on it and you'll be able to access them. If you want to check out the original video as well as Vox in the Void narration YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Okay, let's start.
I am a child, staring at a sky of iron grey, while snow falls onto my skin. I am alone, surrounded by rocks, mountains rising to the heavens like towers. I feel lost, alien. I do not belong here, even though I am here. I look into the sky and search for an answer to my existence, but only snow falls in silence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Perturabo here, the image of Perturabo right here is so, it's painful, you know? It's painful but also scary and just nasty looking. Yeah. Yeah, Perturabo landed on Olympia all alone. Olympia with its high mountains, high mountain ranges, clear skies, cold environment, and yeah, he's alone. And I think he was one of the few Primarchs who actually knew his own name, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he already knew he was called Perturabo, but he did not know who gave him that name. He did not know where he came from, and he did not know his own purpose. Like, why does he exist? For what reason? For what purpose? Yeah.
There is no answer, and I have been forgotten. I am a young boy, staring at a ceiling painted in garish colors, velvet clothing covering my skin. Around me, humans mingle, talking in hushed voices, their glances touching me like snowflakes, cold and invasive. I hear them, but I do not listen. I follow the ornaments painted onto stone with my eyes, seeing their flaws where curves and angles are breaking the pattern. They hold no answer to my question, and neither do the men and women around me with their concerns and plots. Surrounded by living, breathing beings, I am still alone. They do not have the answers I crave.
Oh, okay. Now he's, part of the Olympian society, the high class society, if I may say it like that. After he killed that serpent, that was terrorizing the village, word spread out that there was a young boy who could kill a giant serpent just with an iron sword. And he was brought before a very powerful king, if I'm not mistaken, of one of the city-states on Olympia. And that person adopted Perturabo into his family. However, the society on Olympia, they use people for their own gain. It's not necessarily out of love or out of charity or anything like that. It's just purely having someone like Perturabo on your side is an advantage against your opponents. And the society is transfixed with, materialism, with competition between family members or between city-states. It's all in the pursuit of being the most powerful, the most richest, the most influential empire or family in Olympia. And Perturabo has now been inducted into this society. And he says he does not care, but he does care. He does care how people perceive him. He does care how people, treat him. He hides all of that under a true face, trying to keep appearance himself. That's what he's also doing. He's keeping appearance, showing that he doesn't care, but inside we know he cares. He cares. He wants to feel loved. He wants to have that purpose. He wants to have that sense of respect and even duty.
I am a man, and around me is war. I wield a weapon and I kill with ease. Blood spatters my skin, and my blows rend flesh and bone. Behind me, an army follows, shouting, struggling to keep up with me. They cannot, but they do not matter. Before me, the enemy falls. They look at me with horror. They curse me, and they die. I am beyond them, as I am beyond those who follow me in battle. I know peace. I feel I am close to the answer to the question of my existence, because battle I know, and weapons are familiar to my hands. But I have no purpose, no reason to fight, and I understand I will not find my answer here either. And so, I lower my sword. The enemy attacks me, but they cannot harm me. Their blows are like snowflakes on my skin, and I am still alone.
Yeah. Now he's like a young adult. He's conquering Olympia under the name of his adoptive father, and he is consolidating power under that particular family and city-state. And yeah, he says that he feels all alone because, no one else is like him on this planet. He is the only superhuman on this planet. And, people can try and hurt him physically, but it doesn't hurt him. He just said it's like snowflakes touching on his skin. But mentally, inside, it is hurting him. The fact that he's the only one who looks like him. He's the only one who's able to do the things that he can do. The fact that he's so intelligent, or should I say he has all of this collective memory of how to do things. But it just doesn't translate in him, being this clever person, if I can say it like that. This is all just information that's just been downloaded into his brain. He didn't earn it. He didn't study it. It's just there. It's just something that he can just access with just a thought, And yeah, he probably felt very lonely on this planet. And he did say that he has no purpose for fighting. And that's kind of true, He didn't see the people of Olympia as his own people. He just saw them as tools to be used, just like how his adoptive family used him as a tool. And yeah, it's kind of sad. But also, I'm kind of frustrated with Perturabo. He could have done better.
I am a son. I see my father, and my existence is redeemed. He answers my questions and explains, and I understand. I have purpose and duty, and I was born to fight his wars. He does not need to ask for my help. It is given as it was meant to be. I do not mourn what I leave behind. I can look up to the heavens and see my future beyond them. A sword without purpose is nothing, and a warrior without duty is just a killer. I am more than that. My father has found me, and I am no longer alone.
A warrior with duty is still a killer, Perturabo. A warrior with duty is still a killer. Yeah. He even said it before that, he has this innate ability or, this skill for conflict, creating weapons, fighting in wars. This is already in him. He's born like this. And yes, essentially he is a tool created by the Emperor. He served his Olympian adoptive family first, and now automatically he's serving a new overlord, the Emperor, his gene father or gene sire father. He's now serving him. And he doesn't seem to realize that, these people are simply using him as a tool. Or maybe he does understand that and he accepts it anyway. He doesn't have that self-respect in him or the self-value of him to say, is this something I really want to do? Is this something that I really want to do with my life, where I am being used, either by the families on Olympia or I'm being used by the Emperor? He says that his questions have been answered by the Emperor, but is that enough? Do you feel complete? Do you think your duty now is to serve as you've served on Olympia?
I am a father. My sons carry my purpose to the stars. I am a general, and I fight on countless battlefields. I lead armies and build fortresses. They have no flaws. There is glory to my name, but I do not crave glory. All I want to do is my duty, fulfill my purpose. Surrounded by my sons, I stand under alien skies. We carry this war into the future, for none can fight it like we do.
Yes, his sons that he does not respect, his sons that he does not love. He sees them as tools, just as just as others have seen him as a tool. He sees his sons as a tool as well. And he says that he does not fight for glory or for recognition or anything like that, but he does. He wants to be recognized. He wants to be, loved. He wants to be noticed by his father, most importantly by his father. And so he goes on the most brutal campaigns in the Unification Wars of, or should I say not the Unification Wars, the Crusade. He goes on the most brutal campaigns, facing up against xeno threats that are so dangerous and planets that would seem to be worthless, but he still goes there, and he goes there and fights against whatever creatures are on the planet. And this takes a heavy toll on his Astartes, on his sons. A lot of his sons die in these wars that he fights, and he says that it's all for his duty. Duty to the Emperor, duty to the Imperium of Man. But he is destroying his sons because deep inside himself he's also destroyed, and he hopes, he believes that through this sacrifice, through all of this pain and suffering, someone, most importantly the Emperor, would recognize him and reach out his hand and say, "My son, well done. Thank you very much for your help." But the Emperor's not like that.
I have brothers, and they say it is usual siblings like us have rivalries and are at cross purposes. We argue, we boast, but we are united in duty. And yet...
Yeah. I know one thing, that he likes his brother Magnus. Perturabo and Magnus, they're kind of close in a way. Perturabo only makes trinkets or technologies for his brother Magnus and for the Emperor. Where Magnus is astute with his knowledge on arcane, warp theory and application. Perturabo is a genius when it comes to technological advancements and infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Perturabo and Magnus, they've been very close. But Perturabo with his other brothers, I'm not entirely sure. I know for a fact that he was jealous of Rogel because Rogel was given the task of constructing the palace, or the fortresses around the palace on Terra, something that Perturabo believes should have been given to him because of his knowledge, because of his experience, and what he has done throughout the conquest of the galaxy. But the Emperor, in all of his wisdom, thought it would be right to give it to Rogel, not knowing that his sons are competing for his attention. Maybe he does know and he just didn't care. I'm not sure, how the Emperor thinks. But through these decisions that the Emperor has made, and also making one son the War Master, Horus Lupercal, it just creates this toxic environment between all these brothers where they all vie for the attention of their father, and they do extreme things, as we will know later on with the heresy.
I am a monster. Blood I have shed before. I have killed, in battle and outside. Not like this. I look to bleeding skies, and the snow once white and grey is red with blood and yellow with grease. Those whose gazes touched me are now buried in the skies. The mountains are no longer stone, but flesh and bone. What I built, I tore down. I see shock on the faces of my sons, and disgust and anger. It is in me too, but there is more. I am lost again. My duty, it led me here. My purpose made me do this, for I am made to kill. And yet, I am supposed to be more, and I am not. A warrior with duty is a killer too. It means nothing, and I have been lying to myself. No war ever meant anything. No war will ever mean anything. I am nothing but a weapon, and I will always be alone.
Yeah, this is the time when he returned to Olympia to crush the rebellion. Olympia, his homeworld, was rebelling against the Imperium of Man, led by his adoptive sister. I think it was the adoptive sister, or was it just the nobles on Olympia that initiated this secession from the Empire, from the Imperium, sorry. And, Perturabo was extremely angry about this situation and probably also felt embarrassed. And he returned to Olympia to utterly destroy the place. He returned to the many cities that he had conquered before, many of the things that he had built on Olympia. He tore them down. He killed a lot of people. His own sons, who came from Olympia, also came home, destroyed, killed, and just completely erased many of the cities on Olympia. And that caused great pain in Perturabo and his sons. Of course, he's not going to say that it has. He's just going to say, my duty has brought me here. My duty has made me do all of this. But it's not duty. It's not the duty. These are your choices. The emperor is not the one who told you, go back home and go burn your house down. This is all on you. You decided that you want to do this. And after he killed his adoptive sister, he lost a part of himself as well. He finally realized that, what he has been fighting for, what he believed in, was all lies. Lies that were meant to protect him, protect his heart, protect his soul from the pain, from the emptiness that he had. And those lies began to unravel. And also the truth that, the emperor, he does not love his children. They are tools. And Perturabo thought that, the emperor would at least see him and, berate him and say, why have you allowed Olympia to go this way? Why have you allowed the people of Olympia to rebel against the Imperium of Man? Or to say, well done, my son. You have quelled the rebellions on Olympia. Nothing. No word from the emperor. Because, the emperor is focused on other things. He's, building his Astronomicon, and he's building his webway gate, and he has no time for his children. And this has caused great pain in him, in Perturabo. And who comes to him in his darkest hour? Who comes to him when he's at his weakest point? And that is Horus Lupercal.
I am a monster. Before me rise the walls of my father's fortress, of my brother's masterpiece. I will tear them down. This is what I was made for. To destroy. To kill. I no longer ask questions. They have no answers. All I feel is blood and the sting of explosions on my skin. Their residue cloaks my armor. I lie to myself again and tell myself I feel satisfaction, gratification. It is not true. I feel nothing. I am like a piece of a complex puzzle finally falling into place. And like this piece, I do not know the pattern and do not care. And this is a lie too. Lies are all I have left.
Yeah, during the Horus Heresy, the Battle of Terra, when him and his traitor brothers, I think it was Angron, it was him, Perturabo, who else? Okay, yeah, Horus Lupercal was also there. Fulgrim was there too, with all of their legions. I think there was other brothers here, but I just can't remember their names. They were all fighting on Terra, and Perturabo understood then as well that he was being used again by Horus Lupercal. He was being used for the third time. He's being used by someone else as a tool, and because his emotions are compromised in that way, where he seeks validation, where he seeks love and compassion from others, he's being used yet again by someone else, and this time it's by Horus Lupercal. And it's a sad situation, really. And his sons are continuing this meat grinding war of attrition, under the command of their father, Perturabo, being used as tools for whatever purpose that Perturabo deems fit. And yeah, It's just sad, really.
I am nothing. I build fortresses and tear them down again. Around me, smoke rises to heavens of blinding white. Stars were a promise, but they are gone now. I had something, but I tossed it away. I have forgotten what it was. Or maybe I never knew. I am more than I ever was, and beneath my tread millions are crushed. The puzzle of my existence is as unsolved as ever. The pattern shattered, and no destruction will make it whole again. I have been defeated once, but I can be defeated no longer. I can do whatever I want. I can tear the world asunder. But for what purpose? Gratification. It is empty. Iron within. Iron without. A weapon without purpose is useless, and iron unused will only rust. I had a duty once. It filled a void I had not known existed within me. It was a lie. Now there is only hatred to fill that void, of what I fought for, of what I fought against, of what I was and what I have become. I look up to an empty sky and feel it burn. Gods whisper in my ears and war beckons. Lies. Whatever there is around me, whatever I do, it never changes anything. I am lost and alone. Only one lie ever gave me satisfaction. Only one lie stirred my empty heart. Duty. I tossed it away. I should have known better. In a universe of lies, I failed to choose my own truth.
In a universe filled of lies, I failed to choose my own truth. Yes. Yeah, it's just sad. And of course, towards the end, he became a chaos demon or prince, undivided. And he attained that power through a lot of blood of his brothers, Rogaldon's Astartes. He sacrificed a lot of them to the Chaos Gods, and the Chaos Gods bestowed him with power. And yeah, he's a very powerful being, but what does it give to him? What kind of fulfillment does it achieve for Perturabo to be this powerful being when there is no one who can share in his glory, when there is no one beside him who he can confide in his emotions and how he feels, and them respecting him. There's no one left. Everyone, either he betrayed or they died, or they betrayed him, I should say. In terms of Fulgrim, he betrayed him too. But yeah, iron within, iron without. Iron that is not used will rust, and that is essentially what has happened to him. And yeah, but maybe one day he can come back. Who knows? Who knows if the Emperor, well, probably yes, the Emperor will accept him coming back. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, guys, that's it. That's it with Rust and Iron Warriors Monologue, Unofficial Warhammer 40k, audio narrated by A Vox in the Void, on the YouTube channel, A Vox in the Void narration. Yeah, Perturabo's story is very, complicated, very sad, very deep. A man who never had love for himself. He could never fill his own heart with his own love. You know, he needed other people to fill his heart, his soul with love. You know, he wanted the recognition. He wanted to be loved. He wanted to be depended on, you know, dependable to others as well. He wanted to be this person that is indispensable in their lives when he didn't do that for himself. You know, he didn't have enough self-love, self-esteem, self-respect in himself. And thus he was used by other people. He was used by his adoptive father. He was used by his emperor, by his biological father. He was used by his brother, Horus Lupercal. He was always being used as a tool by all of these people. And he yearned for that. He thought that that's what gave him that purpose. That's what gave him his duty, you know, to be useful to someone else, and never wanting to achieve his own dreams. And he had his own dreams, you know. He had his own dreams for Olympia, for it to be a shining beacon in this dark universe that they live in, you know, whether people would be living in a utopian age where he would be an engineer, an architect, you know, someone who is valued in the community, someone who is loved in the community that he has created. But he never went for those dreams. He always thought that because he was better, he could achieve far greater things under a new overlord. And that's what happened. As soon as the emperor came by, he knelt to the emperor. He says, I will follow you. I will obey every command that you give me. And thus he became another tool to another overlord. And when that overlord did not cherish him, did not love him, did not recognize him, he went to another overlord, Horus Lupercal. And that dream he had of that utopian, peaceful planet where people would love him, and, you know, he would just be this great engineer and an architect, it fell by the wayside. It fell by the wayside. And now he's all alone. All powerful, all devastating, but he's all alone. No one is there by his side. Yeah. But he has to look within himself for love first, before, you know, going out there and looking for it from other people, because other people will just use you. Yeah. Perturabo. Guys, that's it for tonight. And yeah, guys, if you want to check out the original video as well as a Vox and the Void's narration YouTube channel, the links are in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, good night.